Hey, we are live here. Day two of the 7-day Happy Hormone Challenge. And I hope you're already feeling happier. And if you're not, it's because you didn't put your energized life wheel up. Got to start with some baselines, people. Get the wheel up. Get the wheel. Okay, take action. Taking action will make all the difference. Okay, so come on in. Pay close attention. Pull a seat up, come close, or stand, even better yet. And listen to day 2 where we're talking about vitamin D. See, this is a vitamin D molecule. No, it's not. It's the sun. Vitamin D. Okay.
All right, you guys, let's jump right into it. So we're talking about vitamin D today. And if you look up here on the board, you can see that vitamin D is not a vitamin. It's not, what else do people think it is? It's not a mineral, but it's actually a hormone. It's
not a plant or an animal.
It actually comes from, it's categorized as a steroid hormone, and you get it from the sun, and you also get it from some food. So it's really crucial in our health.
And before we move on, I'd like to tell you guys a dad joke. I forgot.
Oh.
You know what? I don't think I should have eaten that seafood.
Why, Brad? Why shouldn't you not eat that seafood?
Because I'm feeling a little eel.
Okay.
Eel.
Oh my God. That's a good one. You should tell the girls tonight.
Okay, I will. All right, so moving right on. Let's look. Vitamin D. What else can we tell you other than the fact that it's not a plant, animal, or mineral?
All right, so how does it help our body?
Vitamin D helps control metabolism. Whoa, that's right. The sun and vitamin D consequently help control our weight, our metabolism, our energy. It also helps control inflammation and immunity. It's a big part. So it's really good for our wellness in many ways and keeping us well and getting us better. It's also good for the development of sexual characteristics. So unless you don't like to have any sexual characteristics, good to get some vitamin D. Yep, that's right. Get some vitamin D. All right, moving down. Next on our list is...
Right, so it's important to modulate the immune function. So it's really tied to our immune system. And when our levels are off, our immune system suffers and we start to feel the consequences of that.
Bingo.
So here's a fact for you guys.
Fact. Up to 80% of modern day humans, that's you, I, all of us, are deficient in vitamin D in one way or another. So it is an epidemic. All of us, for some reason, aren't getting enough vitamin D, and we, as detectives, health detectives, are going to clue down into that, discover why we're not getting enough vitamin D, and then deliver it through the screen to you.
So what would be optimal levels? Do you know?
Optimal levels are between 70 to 100 nanograms per milliliter.
Or 60.
Okay. I like to be a little bit more D. Okay?
All right.
And there is actually therapeutic levels, so if you need to heal, therapeutic levels are higher, but baseline levels shouldn't really drop below 60, and probably, again, as we said, 80% of us are below that. Suboptimal. No bueno.
Especially if you're living where we live in a northern climate. Hasn't been good lately for us for the past few months with the clouds and
But it's sunny today, and it was sunny on the weekend, so we get as much as we can when it is.
And we're going to give you some tips on that after.
Yeah. Okay, next.
All right, so if your vitamin D is not in the optimal range, something's going to go wrong somewhere in your system. So as we'd like to talk about, the body as a whole, so it doesn't mean that one little part of you is going to be off, it's going to affect the whole system of your body. And vitamin D deficiency, what it does is it turns off our epigenetic switches. And what this means is we're no longer protected from viruses and from bacteria and fungal infections. And if you're not sure what epigenetic is, Brad will give us a short description of it.
I could talk about epigenetics all day. In fact, I think you guys do have all day. So here we go. No, just kidding. Epi means above or superior to or over the fact. Genetics, we know a lot about genetics, so I'm not going to get into definitions. Epigenetics, in a short definition, is the factors that can turn on or off certain genes. So for a long time, science has been telling us we are kind of locked in and destined by our genetic makeup. Our DNA and our health is destined by that. So if our ancestors, our parents had something, we are likely going to get it, and there's nothing we can do about it. That's wrong. Only 5% is affected by true genetics, and the rest is epigenetic factors. Environment, stress management, even your thoughts play a role in which genes turn on and off. So epigenetics is about empowerment, and that's where the science is now, and it's up to us to take that personal responsibility and control our epigenetics so we can live better and avoid problems.
Yeah, so we can do something about these suboptimal levels of vitamin D that people are walking around with.
Exactly.
All right, so let's move
Move on. Flip, 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 flip.
We have a better system that's not going to fall on us
Maybe.
today.
Who
All
knows?
right, so there's quite a few diseases that have been tied to vitamin D deficiency. Let's have a look at some of those. You might be familiar with some of them. I know I am.
Psoriasis.
So psoriasis is a skin condition, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. Osteoporosis and osteopenia. So this is, bone issues and joint issues.
Cancer of all types. Heart disease.
Obesity. Osteo and rheumatoid arthritis.
Mental illness. MS.
which is multiple sclerosis.
Multiple sclerosis. You know what we're
You know what
talking
I'm saying.
about.
Which is really, an autoimmune disease. So most autoimmune diseases are linked to a low vitamin D deficiency, which is, an interesting thing to know if you're trying to overcome an autoimmune disease. This is something you need to look into and put into place and get checked out.
So you can see how significant it is to have low vitamin D levels, but it's also super awesome to have good vitamin D levels, and we're going to get into that soon. But first, let's talk about some of the signs that you might be lacking vitamin D. Things like weight gain,
Bone softening,
fatigue,
muscle cramps.
joint pain.
Hey, don't make fun of that one.
Okay.
That's mine. Blood sugar issues,
Low immunity,
low calcium levels,
mood changes, irritability.
depression. These two, the last two, I think are pretty, what's the word?
Subtle?
Well, I think people would notice that. I think if you have low
Not
vitamin
subtle.
D and then your vitamin D goes up, you're going to notice
Oh, yeah.
a change in your mood and irritability and even depression. I know I do. I do supplement in the winter, and I do notice when I'm not at my optimal level, I feel a little bit off emotionally.
Let me ask you
No.
all a question and give me a heart or a thumbs up if this resonates with you. So my question is this. You've been working hard, it's been gray or snowy or rainy, and you decide to go on a little trip. Now, maybe you're lucky and you can just go to your local beach. Maybe you decide to actually take a vacation. You go down for a beach and you get some sun, and immediately that day, do you feel better or worse? If you feel better when you're on the beach with a little bit of sun, barefoot hanging out, before even the stress has left your body, give me a thumbs up, a heart. If
I'm
not,
giving it.
if not, then I'm signing you up to our full year program because, okay, you're all signed up, no thumbs up. You don't feel better with the sun? Hello, do you hear the volume?
I think we have a tap into our innate body when we do that, because a lot of people book vacations to go to the sun, right?
Yes.
That's sort of where
Yeah.
everyone heads, especially in the winter if you live up in a Nordic region. So I think
Yeah,
Brad's onto something.
That's
here.
intuitive. Excellent. Okay, so let's move on to some good stuff.
Yeah,
The
good
good
stuff.
news.
We're giving you all the bad stuff. But
The
you
good
know what?
news.
You can alter your vitamin D levels and get them back up to optimal ranges, which is excellent and so exciting because you're taking control of your own health there. Little minor technical detail. Okay, so at the right levels, so this is in that range of 60 to 100, vitamin D helps trim fat stores. So this helps bring insulin resistance down. And we're going to get into insulin on another day, insulin resistance on another day, but vitamin D is a big factor there.
Yeah, so it also acts as a natural antibiotic. So what that does is it helps white blood cells clear infections. I just read a really fascinating study where they looked at Aboriginal people, certain tribes actually down the Amazon that had incredible response to infections by just spending time outside. And again, that's what we all used to do more of, even 100 years ago, but certainly a couple thousand years ago and up to 10,000 or more years ago, we were out in the sun a lot more. So when people are very scared of the sun, while there is something to be aware of when it comes to sun exposure, we also evolved and have been in the sun for thousands of years. The sun is not our enemy. The sun is life.
Yes, and that message is getting out there and changing now, which is really good. So it also helps prevent high blood pressure.
It also aids in the management of psoriasis. Another story, because I love stories. I have a friend that I've known for a long time, and he used to go once or twice a year. He had psoriasis, very bad psoriasis, all over his body, his scalp, some on his face, his arms, his legs. He used to go down either to Jamaica. He also would go to Florida, and often, if he could do it, he would go to the Dead Sea in Israel, which is the lowest point in the world, and it's very dry and it's very hot, and the sun really, when he came back, he had no signs of psoriasis. So it is pretty cool how that makes a difference.
Yeah, and what happens is psoriasis is when your skin cells are reproducing at a faster rate than normal. So the vitamin D helps slow that rate down, so your skin's not producing extra.
Right on. Okay, so it also helps with the repair of leaky gut. For those of you who don't know about leaky gut has become more and more established as a real issue for lots of people. Leaky gut is hyperpermeability of the lower intestine.
That's the fancy term.
So to keep it simple, it means you got little holes that tend to be too big inside your gut, and the food particles leak out, causing immune reactions, inflammation, and other issues. So vitamin D helps to repair leaky gut.
Yeah, it helps bind those tight junctions together. It's also associated with longer telomere lengths. So if you don't know what telomeres are, they're the region of the DNA at the end of the chromosome. So it protects the end of the chromosome for deteriorating or joining on with other chromosomes. So the length of your telomeres really tells you what your biological age is. And as we get older, unfortunately, if we don't be proactive in our anti-aging, our telomere lengths start to get shorter and shorter, which is not good.
So take vitamin D and your telomere length gets longer. And you live.
Such good prompts today, Brad. All right, so let's get into some action steps that you can put into place at home right now.
Action steps. Yeah, action. What can we say? Action steps. Get vitamin D levels tested. Yeah. So it's always good to know where you stand so you know how much fixing needs to be done. So we recommend getting your vitamin D levels tested, especially if you are living in places that are either further north or are cloudy and overcast, like we live in the Pacific Northwest.
And you can just go to your doctor and get them tested. You don't have to go source out anyone specific. Very easy to do. Eat a protein-rich diet. So this is interesting. So a good protein-rich diet leads to better vitamin D levels. And this is because protein, it makes a protein called vitamin D binding protein. And this, what it does is it allows you to start banking some of the vitamin D when you're out in the sun exposure. So that's really great, because as we get older, our bodies are unable to make vitamin D at the same rate through the skin as when we're younger. So
you know what that makes me think of, Bria? That makes
me
think
Brad?
That protein-rich diet is like having the most sophisticated solar panels that can actually both absorb vitamin D and then store it for a rainy day. Boom. Human solar panels. Okay, moving out. The next one, which is semi-obvious, but again, a lot of people are fearful of the sun, is get out in the sun more. We're going to talk more about how to do that, or should we do that right now?
Sure.
No. We'll do that. You got it coming? It's got it coming.
It's coming up
next.
It's
coming. I'm just so excited about getting out in the sun. I love getting out in the sun.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about next is there is a safe amount of sun exposure that really helps with the body producing vitamin D, but you don't want to be out in the sun frying your skin, because that's not good. So if you need to use a sunscreen, we really recommend checking out the Environmental Working Group's website, and they list a whole bunch of chemical-free, non-toxic sunscreens, and there's some really great ones in there, and we can even post the one we use with our kids and us that's not really slimy or greasy or anything like that. So.
Yeah. I used to work for a company that did cosmetics, one of the divisions. I wasn't in that division. I was already beautiful enough. And they had a lot of cosmetics and sunscreens, and some of them contained really questionable ingredients. Oh, yeah. So while you're fighting maybe the harmful effects of too much sun by putting on sunscreen, you can also be causing other harmful effects by putting chemicals on your skin, which is your largest organ and absorbs those kind of chemicals. So we will post the EWG sunscreen guide so you can cover up safely and with know-how. All right, last one.
And then, so going back to get tested, and then, you know, if you need to supplement, then do that smartly and under a doctor's guidance.
Or a healthcare professional.
Yeah. So you can do it.
All right, from the Vitamin D Council. This is a big quote.
I can sum it up.
I can. You want to sum it up?
Sure. So
Okay,
what
Bree's
they're
gonna sum it
saying is I'm going to post this written down on the Facebook group. But what it says is don't fear the sun. What they want you to do is get out in the direct sunlight in midday. And you want to stay out for a quarter of the length it takes for your skin to turn pink. So you don't want to be out there frying yourself all day or for an hour or two, depending on your skin type. Brad can certainly get out in the sun for much longer than I can. I'm much fairer than him.
But I even have had experiences when I've turned into lobster boy. And that's me completely red because I fell asleep in the sun. So I don't do that anymore. I'm smarter. No lobster boy. No bueno. Passed.
Right, so that's what they're saying. Get out in the sun, preferably around midday, you know, in the spring, in the summer, and in the fall when it's feasible for you. And you want to get as much skin as possible exposed. You want to get, you know, just spend a quarter of the time until you turn pink. Doesn't mean the more you burn or your skin gets darker, you're absorbing more vitamin D. That doesn't happen. That sets a limit. It's done. You've absorbed everything. And what we said before, if you're eating protein, you're banking that, right?
Yeah, so the short of it is get outside naked or as naked as possible, right in the midday sun, 15 minutes, absorb all that vitamin D, get your hormones perfect, and then cover up and go back inside or work out.
That's your challenge.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's get to the challenge.
Oh, but I am seeing, we're having some comments, but we see nothing right now. So Facebook is obviously vitamin D deficient, and therefore they cannot communicate to us your wonderful messages. So we will recommend Mark Zuckerberg get his levels tested, and Facebook fixes their vitamin D so we can see your lovely message and respond accordingly.
Yeah, thanks.
We will respond after the fact with the messages we see. So we apologize that we can't interact. Keep trying. Keep trying.
And we'll answer them after if you have a question.
You can. Ooh. Okay.
Okay, so let's do a quick summary. So vitamin D is it's not a vitamin, it's a hormone. It helps regulate the immune function, so it's really important for us getting, you know, in the winter season for keeping us healthy. Most people are vitamin D deficient, which leads to some chronic diseases. When balanced, it's an amazing hormone that has serious health benefits, so it's really fantastic when you in the optimal range. You know, and some action items are to get tested, eat some protein so you can start banking some of that vitamin D. Get outside, preferably naked, as Brad says, for that recommended period that we were talking about, which I'll post, and supplement if needed. That's, you know.
Yeah, and I got 2 did you know facts.
Oh.
One is that vitamin D, if you Google something like PubMed or NIH, which is the National Institute of Health, which is probably the most widely accepted and clinically peer-reviewed place to get studies, vitamin D is supplementing with vitamin D or getting vitamin D is associated with an incredible amount of treatments for an incredibly wide variety of ailments. So it really is a fantastic hormone, steroid hormone to have in check, and it's something important that we need to keep a handle on, especially in this day and age where we're inside more and we're more scared of the sun than ever before. My other fact was I completely forget.
It will come back.
Okay.
He'll bring it back up later, don't worry.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the challenge. Brad, you're going to...
The challenge. Okay, so challenge day 2 is